If you are a United States citizen, whether you were born here or naturalized, or if you are a green card holder, or someone who is currently waiting for immigration approval, I want you to stay with me for the next few minutes. There has been a lot of talk online, on social media, and even in some news outlets about new passport rules that supposedly just passed, and many people are genuinely worried. Some are wondering if their passport will suddenly become invalid. Others are asking if they will be blocked from traveling in 2026. And I have seen countless messages from people who are confused, stressed, and frankly scared. So let me be very clear with you right from the start. My goal today is not to scare you. My goal is not to create panic or confusion. My goal is to calmly walk you through what is actually happening, separate the truth from the rumors, and give you the clarity you deserve. My name is Sarah, and I have been covering United States immigration news and travel updates for years now, always with one principle in mind. I will never exaggerate. I will never mislead you. I will tell you the truth as clearly and calmly as I can. So take a breath, settle in, and let us go through this together, step by step. Before we go any further, I want to make something very clear. I am not a lawyer, I am not an immigration attorney, I am not a government official, and I do not work for the State Department or USCIS. Everything I share with you in this video is for informational and educational purposes only. It is not legal advice. If you have a specific situation that is complicated or unusual, I always encourage you to speak with a qualified immigration attorney or contact the appropriate government agency directly. What I do here is take complex information and explain it in a way that makes sense, in a way that is calm, and in a way that helps you understand what is real and what is not. That is my only job, and I take it seriously. So let us start with the most important question. What is this new passport rule that everyone is talking about? What actually happened? Well, the truth is, there is no single dramatic new law that suddenly invalidates everyone's passport or changes everything overnight. What we are seeing is a combination of ongoing updates to passport security features, changes in processing timelines, and some adjustments to how certain passport renewals and applications are handled, particularly as we move into 2026. The United States government, through the Department of State, regularly updates passport designs, security measures, and procedural rules. This is not new. It has been happening for decades. Passports are redesigned every so often to include better anti-fraud technology, updated images, and improved security chips. These updates are normal, and they happen in almost every country around the world. So when you hear about a new passport rule, what is often being described is a routine update that has been planned for years, not some sudden emergency change. Now, there are a few specific things that are shifting as we approach 2026, and I want to explain each one clearly so you know exactly what applies to you and what does not. First, there is the continued rollout of what is called the Next Generation Passport, or NGP. This is a passport that includes enhanced security features such as a polycarbonate data page, laser engraving, and more advanced chip technology. If you apply for a new passport or renew your passport now, you may receive one of these Next Generation passports. If you already have a passport that was issued a few years ago, it is still completely valid until its expiration date. You do not need to rush out and get a new one just because a new design exists. Your current passport will work for travel as long as it has not expired and as long as it meets the entry requirements of the country you are visiting. That is the first thing I need you to understand. Your existing valid passport does not suddenly stop working because a new version is available. Second, there are some changes to passport renewal processing times and procedures. The Department of State has been dealing with significant backlogs over the past few years, partly due to the pandemic and partly due to increased demand for passports as international travel resumed. As a result, they have been working to streamline the renewal process, expand online renewal options, and reduce wait times. In fact, there is an ongoing effort to make passport renewal available online for more people, which is actually a positive change. However, this also means that some of the traditional timelines you might have been used to in the past may shift slightly. If you are planning international travel in 2026, my strong recommendation is to apply for or renew your passport well in advance. Do not wait until the last minute. Give yourself at least 6 months before your planned travel date to ensure you have your passport in hand. This is not because there is some new restrictive rule. It is simply because processing times can vary, and it is better to be prepared than to be stressed. Third, and this is where some of the confusion has come from, there are enhanced requirements for passport photos and documentation in certain cases. For example, if you are renewing a passport that was issued when you were a child, or if there are discrepancies in your name or other personal information, you may be asked to provide additional documentation. This is not a punishment. This is not targeting anyone specifically. It is a security measure to ensure that the person applying for the passport is who they say they are. It is part of the government's responsibility to prevent fraud and identity theft. For the vast majority of people, passport renewal remains straightforward. You fill out the form, submit your photo, pay the fee, and wait for your new passport to arrive. If you are asked for additional documents, it is usually because there is a specific reason related to your file, and the instructions will be provided to you clearly. Now let me address who these changes actually apply to. If you are a United States citizen, whether you were born here or naturalized, and you have a valid passport, you are not in any danger of losing your ability to travel. Your citizenship is not being questioned. Your rights are not being taken away. The updates to passport design and processing are administrative and security related. They apply to everyone equally. There is no difference in how these rules affect someone who was born in the United States versus someone who became a citizen through naturalization. Both are full United States citizens with the same rights and the same access to passports and travel. I want to emphasize this because I have seen some fear online among naturalized citizens who worry that they are being targeted or that their status is less secure. That is not true. Once you are a United States citizen, you are a United States citizen, period. The passport updates apply to all citizens in the same way. If you are a green card holder, a lawful permanent resident, these passport rule changes do not directly affect you in the same way because you travel using your green card and, if necessary, a visa or travel document from your country of citizenship, not a United States passport. However, if you are planning to apply for naturalization and become a United States citizen, then yes, once you are a citizen, you will apply for a United States passport, and at that time, the current rules and procedures will apply to you. But there is no rush. There is no deadline. You can become a citizen and apply for your passport whenever you are ready and eligible. The system is designed to accommodate everyone who qualifies. If you are someone who is currently waiting for immigration approval, whether it is a green card application, a visa petition, or an adjustment of status, these passport changes do not affect your case. Your immigration process is handled by USCIS, by the National Visa Center, or by a United States consulate or embassy abroad. Passport issuance is handled by the Department of State and applies only to people who are already United States citizens. These are two separate processes, so if you are in the middle of waiting for your green card interview or your visa appointment, do not add passport worries to your list. Focus on your current process, respond to any request from USCIS or the consulate, and when the time comes, if you become a citizen, you will apply for your passport through the normal channels. Let me now take a moment to talk about some of the myths and misunderstandings that I have seen circulating. One of the most common myths is that if you have a passport that was issued under the old design, you will be denied entry to other countries starting in 2026. This is false. Your passport is valid until the expiration date printed on it, regardless of what design it has. Airlines and immigration officers at foreign borders check your expiration date, your personal information, and the validity of your visa if required. They do not reject you simply because your passport does not have the newest design. Now, that said, some countries do have a rule that your passport must be valid for at least 6 months beyond your date of entry. This is not a new rule. This has been in place for years in many countries. So if your passport expires in 3 months and you are planning to travel abroad, you should renew it before you go, not because of a new 2026 rule, but because of this long-standing 6-month validity requirement. Another myth I have seen is that dual citizens will have their United States passports taken away or restricted under new rules. This is also false. The United States allows dual citizenship. If you are a United States citizen and also a citizen of another country, you are allowed to hold both passports. There is no new law changing that. The only time dual citizenship becomes a complicated issue is in very rare cases involving certain government jobs, security clearances, or if someone obtained citizenship through fraud. But for the average person, dual citizenship is perfectly legal, and it is not being targeted or restricted by any new passport rule. There is also concern about passport denials increasing in 2026. Let me be very clear about this. Passport denials are rare, and they happen for specific legal reasons. The most common reasons a passport application might be denied include unpaid child support above a certain amount, outstanding federal debt, certain criminal warrants, or being under a court order that restricts travel. These are not new rules. These have been in place for years. If none of these situations apply to you, you have no reason to worry about your passport being denied. The government does not randomly deny passports. There is always a legal reason, and if your application is denied, you are informed of the reason and given an opportunity to resolve the issue. I also want to address a concern that I have heard from seniors and older applicants. Some people worry that because they are older or because they have not traveled in many years, they will somehow be treated differently or face more scrutiny when applying for a passport. I want to reassure you that age is not a factor in passport eligibility or approval. Whether you are 25 or 75, the process is the same. You fill out the application, provide your documentation, submit your photo, and wait for approval. If you have not had a passport in many years, or if this is your first time applying, that is completely normal, and it does not create any problems. In fact, many seniors apply for passports for the first time later in life because they finally have the time and resources to travel, and the Department of State processes those applications just like any other. Now, let us talk about what you should actually do to stay prepared and avoid any stress. First, if you have a passport that is going to expire within the next year, start the renewal process now. Do not wait. Renewing early is always better than renewing late. If you do not have a passport and you think you might want to travel internationally in the next few years, consider applying now. Even if you do not have specific travel plans, having a valid passport gives you flexibility and peace of mind. Second, make sure your passport photo meets the current requirements. Passport photos must be recent, taken within the last 6 months, and they must meet specific size and background requirements. If you go to a professional passport photo service, they will know the rules and make sure your photo is correct. Do not try to take a selfie or use an old photo. It will likely be rejected, and that will delay your application. Third, double-check your name and personal information. If your name has changed due to marriage, divorce, or legal name change, make sure you provide the correct legal documents, such as a marriage certificate or court order, when you apply. If there is a mismatch between your current legal name and the name on your previous passport or birth certificate, you will need to explain that and provide proof. This is not an interrogation. It is just a standard part of the process to make sure your identity is verified. Fourth, keep copies of your important documents. Make photocopies or digital scans of your passport, birth certificate, naturalization certificate, and any other immigration or identity documents. Store them in a safe place. If you ever lose your passport while traveling, having copies will make the replacement process much easier. And finally, if you are ever unsure about your specific situation, reach out to the National Passport Information Center. They have a phone line and online resources where you can ask questions and get accurate information directly from the source. You can also visit a regional passport agency if you need expedited service or have complicated questions. These resources exist to help you, and there is no reason to feel intimidated or afraid to use them. Let me now shift gears slightly and give you some broader context about what is happening in the immigration world right now, because I know many of you watching this are navigating not just passport questions, but also green card applications, visa renewals, family petitions, and citizenship processes. The truth is, the entire United States immigration system is under significant strain. Processing times for almost everything have increased over the past few years. USCIS is backlogged. Visa interview wait times at consulates abroad are long. Many people are waiting months or even years for decisions on their cases. This is frustrating, this is stressful, and I want to acknowledge that. You are not imagining it. The delays are real. But I also want to reassure you that delays do not mean denials. Just because your case is taking longer than you expected does not mean it has been forgotten or that something is wrong. In most cases, it simply means that the system is overwhelmed and your case is in the queue. If you have applied for a green card and you have not heard anything in months, that is unfortunately normal right now. If you are waiting for a visa interview appointment and the earliest available date is many months away, that is also normal. If you submitted your naturalization application and you are waiting for your interview, you are not alone. Thousands of people are in the same situation. The best thing you can do is check your case status online regularly, respond immediately to any requests for evidence or additional documentation, and be patient. I know patience is hard, especially when your future feels uncertain, but the system does move forward. Cases do get processed. Interviews do get scheduled. Approvals do happen. If you are a green card holder waiting to apply for citizenship, make sure you meet all the eligibility requirements before you file. You generally need to have been a permanent resident for 5 years, or 3 years if you are married to a United States citizen. You need to meet the physical presence and continuous residence requirements. You need to be able to pass the English and civics test unless you qualify for an exemption. And you need to demonstrate good moral character. If you meet all of these requirements, go ahead and file your N-400 application. Do not wait for the perfect moment. The sooner you file, the sooner you get in line. And once you become a citizen, you will have the right to apply for a United States passport, vote in elections, and enjoy the full privileges of citizenship. I also want to take a moment to speak directly to those of you who are feeling anxious, stressed, or overwhelmed by all of this. Immigration is one of the most emotional and personal journeys a person can go through. It affects your family, your career, your sense of stability and belonging. It is completely normal to feel scared when you hear about rule changes, even if those changes do not directly affect you. It is normal to worry about your status, your documents, your future. You are not weak for feeling this way, you are human. But I want to encourage you to take a step back and breathe. In most cases, the fear is worse than the reality. The headlines are designed to grab attention, and they often make things sound more dramatic than they actually are. The actual rules, when you read them calmly and carefully, are usually far less scary than the headlines suggest. You are not alone in this process. Millions of people have gone through what you are going through. Millions of people have waited, worried, and wondered, and the vast majority of them have come through successfully. The United States immigration system, for all its flaws and delays, is still a functioning system. It is built on laws, procedures, and rights. It is not random. It is not designed to trap you or trick you. Yes, it is slow. Yes, it is frustrating. Yes, it can feel impersonal and cold, but it does work and it does lead to outcomes. Your job is to stay informed, stay organized, and stay calm. Do not let fear make decisions for you. Do not let rumors and social media panic change your plans. Trust the process, follow the rules, and give yourself the grace to be patient. So let me bring this all together and summarize what we have covered today. There is no sudden dramatic new passport rule that is going to invalidate your documents or stop you from traveling in 2026. What we are seeing is a continuation of routine updates to passport security, design, and processing that have been planned for years. If you are a United States citizen, your rights and your access to a passport have not changed. If you have a valid passport, it remains valid until it expires. If you need to renew or apply for a passport, the process is the same as it has always been, with some minor updates to make things more secure and more efficient. There is no reason to panic. There is no reason to rush. There is only a reason to stay informed and prepared. If you are a green card holder, focus on maintaining your status, meeting your residency requirements, and when you are ready, applying for citizenship. If you are waiting for immigration approval, focus on your current process, respond to any requests from USCIS, and be patient. The delays are real, but they are not a reflection of your case being denied. And if you are a senior, a naturalized citizen, or someone who is simply worried because of what you have heard online, I want you to know that you are safe. Your status is secure. Your citizenship is not in question. The passport system is not targeting you. The truth is always less dramatic than the fear. The truth is that the United States government updates passport procedures regularly to keep documents secure and to prevent fraud. The truth is that your existing passport is valid until it expires. The truth is that applying for or renewing a passport is a straightforward process for the vast majority of people. And the truth is that you have time. You do not need to do everything today. You do not need to solve every problem right now. You just need to stay informed, stay organized, and take things one step at a time. I hope this video has given you the clarity and the calm that you were looking for. I hope you feel more confident now about what is real and what is not. And I hope you understand that my goal is never to create fear, but always to replace fear with knowledge. If you found this helpful, I would be so grateful if you would take a moment to leave a comment below. Let me know what topics you would like me to cover next. Let me know if there are other immigration or travel questions that are on your mind. I read every comment and I genuinely care about helping you navigate this journey with as much peace and confidence as possible. If this video brought you some relief, consider subscribing so you do not miss future updates. I am here to keep you informed, always with truth, always with clarity, and always with respect for the challenges you are facing. Thank you so much for watching, for trusting me with your time, and for being part of this community. Take care of yourself, be kind to yourself, and remember, you are going to be okay. I will see you in the next video.